What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another live show where we're gonna talk about Calafiori, or mainly about Calafiori, because that has been the talking point the last 24 hours. So when non-Serie A fans discovered that there are actually players outside of the Premier League. So and everybody is panicking because well, the price tag is apparently going up, or people are panicking that the UEFA official account is putting out Calafiori pictures, or that a random Real Madrid account on Twitter is posting a Calafiori picture, and the price is skyrocketing. Apparently, it's not 40, it's not 50. I've seen 60, I've seen 60, and a player I've seen 60 plus I don't know how many millions and bonus. I've seen it all, and that only after 24 hours. Funnily enough, or not funnily enough, like good enough for us, that's not how it works. So that's what we're going to talk about. Um, Calafiori is the main target for the summer, or is one of the main targets. Let me put it that, it's him, it's Cope Miners, and it's Di Gregorio, who is basically done. It's basically done. So Douglas Luiz was not a main target, but it's getting close to a done deal as well. But Calafiori and Cope Miners were main targets for the club. Just because we didn't sign Calafiori before the Euros, because that's what it is. We didn't sign him before the Euros. That doesn't mean it's not possible that you're signing him anymore. We didn't sign Locatelli before the Euros. If I, or if you, whatever, were running Bologna, you will be an idiot for selling Calafiori before the Euros. I've said it many times. We were never going to sign, Calafiori before the Euros. That would make zero sense if you were Bologna. It would make no sense. Like, if you own Bologna and you have people in charge and they sell your star player before a big tournament, you kind of need to sack those guys because they have no idea what they're doing. So it was never going to happen before the Euros. So I'm not sure why people are panicking about that point, that, it's not done before the Euros, now you're screwed. It was never going to happen, it was never going to happen. So forget about that point, So that's not a worrying point. It's also not a worrying point that, and by the way, people, you can call in. Link for that is in the chat. I cannot pin it for some reason. Let me see. I cannot pin it. Why can I not pin it? But yeah, I'll put out the link a couple of times in the chat. But for some reason, I cannot pin the comment. But that was not a point. The fact that the UEFA official account on Twitter, or what was it, Fox Sports and ESPN, are posting pictures of Calafiori doesn't change anything. The fact that there's a Real Madrid account out there, apparently, who's talking about Calafiori, that doesn't change anything. The only thing it changes is that people who never watch Serie A are like, who's this? And that's very reactionary. I want my club to sign him. The clubs, Man U, Chelsea, Real Madrid, like, name every single club on this planet, are not sitting there on Twitter looking at their fans. Oh, they like Calafiori, we might need to sign Calafiori. That's not how it works. Like, if you have a half decent scout at your club, they know who Calafiori is. They know who he is. They didn't need a game against an extremely poor side in Albania. With all due respect, they were very poor, to say, oh, he's a real deal, Calafiori. Because actually, the game yesterday wasn't even a fair measuring stick to say how good is Calafiori, because Albania was poor. Like, they had absolutely nothing besides the Di Marco throw-in assist, and at the end, a mistake from Calafiori. Funnily enough, they had nothing. So it's not really a fair measuring stick as well. The clubs like Chelsea are not sitting there on Twitter and saying, oh, the fans like him, or watching the Albania game and they're like, oh, who's that? Maybe we need to sign. Like, that's not how it works, That's not how it works now. That's not how it's going to work at any given time, The price was always set. The price was always what it was going to be. Like, for us, the price was never going to be, what was it, 20 million? I saw reports, 20 million. That was never going to be, or at the start of the transfer window, there was talks about 25 plus, maybe a couple of bonus, or 20 plus Nicolucci, whatever. It was never gonna be that, Not now, not in May, not post Euro. It was never gonna be 20 plus bonuses or whatever. It was always gonna be around 30 plus, I always thought 30, 35. That's what I always thought, So let's see. When people are panicking, saying, oh, it will cost 70, 80 million now, that's not going to be the case, because that Bologna was never asking that amount of money. No club is going to offer that amount of money. If you're Chelsea and you want Calafiori, you're not going to offer 80 when you know the asking price was between 35, around 35. That's ridiculous, poor business from whoever is in charge at a big club. The price, if it's going up, it will only go up if there is a bidding war. And like I said, if Calafiori is like, I want to join Juve, figure it out, there's not going to be a bidding war. Locatelli, before the Euros, it was, he's not going to leave. During the Euros, it was like, yeah, he could leave for like 60 million euros. And all fake reports out there confirm, not real reports at one point, that there were 60 million euro offers on the table from Premier League clubs. Then it came out that Arsenal were not offering 60 million euros. They were offering close to 45-ish, something like that. And he went for 30 plus, what was it, 6 in bonus? He wasn't going for 40, 45, whatever. It was never going to happen, because you don't have a bidding war if the player wants to join one team. The other team can bid a lot more. If the player is saying, I'm not joining that team, you might need to lower your demands. If you want to cash in on me, you might need to accept whatever is on the table from, in this case, Juve, for example. Another point as well, in my opinion, is that the fact that we have an agreement with Calafiori is, I think, the reason why the club is very calm. Even if the deal at the end of the day won't get done, the club is certain, they're in a strong position, because they know we have Thiago Motta. Calafiori wants to play for Thiago Motta. We have an agreement with Thiago Motta we have an agreement with the player Calafiori for a while right now. We don't need to rush things, because we are in a strong position. If Bologna decide not to sell, then they decide not to sell. If Calafiori decides not to push, then Calafiori decides not to push. But the club is in a strong position, knowing, hey, we have an agreement with Calafiori. If he wants to join, it will happen. We will find a way to make it happen. If Bologna is like, we're not going to do that, then it's what it is, until Calafiori pushes. What is actually the issue in this deal, in my opinion, again, is that they own Basel 50%. They own Basel 50%, and they are looking at it saying that, he's at least worth 30 million, 35 million. We're not going to get 50 million. So let's say we ask 40 and then we get 20. That's something fair. But the fact that they own Basel half, 50%, is not Juve's issue. That's their own issue. They cannot sit, or like they can do it, by the way, but clubs know that you're bumping up the price just because you need to pay Basel half. That's not how it works for clubs, basically. They're looking at, that's the value of the player. If you don't get that full value, that's your issue. We're not going to pay for Basel in this case. That's also what's holding up the deal. That's also what is holding up the deal, But I wouldn't get worried, excuse me. I wouldn't be worried about, one game in the Euros against Albania. I wouldn't be worried about that. Now, if he goes out and Italy reach the final, whatever, win it, then okay. I see clubs, reactionary clubs, I've seen it before, trying to go in for a player like Calafiori. I get it. Like, that's fair, and that's probably going to happen. That's why these Euros are so key. But again, at the end of the day, we have an agreement with him, and he wants to stay in Italy, and he wants to move on with Motta. That doesn't mean it's a done deal. That doesn't mean he can change his mind. But the club right now is in a very calm situation. I think so is Bologna, by the way, and I think so is the player. But Juve, in my opinion, again, is extremely calm, because they know we have an agreement after Euros. We'll try to figure it out. That's how it is. If it goes well, it goes well. If it doesn't go, if it goes south, it goes south. But I don't think the club of Giuntoli is panicking right there just because everybody on Twitter is talking about Calafiori. That's just my opinion. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. People were saying we'd sign Locatelli for 60 million and we signed him for much cheaper. Yeah, that's it. When I'm referring to the match against Albania, I'm pointing to the fact that Calafiori will make mistakes like this in his first 3 years, but you got a great build. Yeah, like he almost cost Italy the win at the end. That's like he's still raw. Like he had an insane push on. Like his development was insane over a year. Like the steps he took, it feels like he skipped the mistake part. He will have mistakes, but that's fine. Like you need to take that with him. He's not the finished article, which is kind of scary as well a little bit, but he's gonna make mistakes. Like that's just what it is. Like it's gonna happen because the development he had is insane. Like again, it feels like he skipped making mistakes last season. So he's gonna make mistakes, but I think as a player you cannot pass on. You cannot pass on him. If Chelsea come in and offer a 5 million a year, he will go to Chelsea. I disagree completely. You will get him in August for 35 million. I disagree with that as well. If we are in mid-August or whatever, the second week of August, and we didn't agree at terms, I think he's just going to stay on Bologna. I don't think we are going to sign him mid-August. I don't think Bologna are. Like, if Bologna are not willing to sell right now, really, they're definitely not going to do it in, like, let's say, second week of August. And on the Chelsea thing, I disagree. If they offer 5 million, I don't think he's doing it for the money, because Cambiasso got a new deal really quickly on the back end of a very strong last 6 months of the season. He got a new deal with a salary increase. So he will get more money from Juve, even in a year or two, if he actually proves to be a fantastic player. The agent will come to the club and say, you know what, we need to redo this deal. He will stay, no worries. Just bump up his salary. We add another year to it and we keep it moving. So I don't think that's the issue at all. I don't think money is what they really are going to, stress about, or like he is really going to stress about, in my opinion. Excuse me. Let me see. I'll bring in the caller in a sec. If we don't get him this summer, his price will go up next summer. I expect him to evolve and would be worried for other clubs, especially. I agree with that. We have to get him ASAP. 2 more good games in the Euros. All big clubs, especially this English one, are going to go for him. Listen, I understand 50 million is a lot, but I also think that it's the only player we might sign that's worth it. Not seriously, but I don't think we should. I don't think they're asking 50 million, by the way. I don't, like, I've never seen a report suggesting they're, like, a good report, a half-decent report, that they want 50 million euros. Man U, Chelsea, and Newcastle looking for centre backs, and English clubs pay over the odds for young players. Again, if he doesn't want to go to there, like, Man U is a mess. Like, they're rubbish. Chelsea is all up in the air. They have 10 squads, and they don't develop young players. It's all over the place. They have a rookie manager as well, quote unquote rookie, and I don't see him going Newcastle. Again, the player makes a decision at the end of the day. If he doesn't want to leave to the Premier League, he doesn't leave to the Premier League. So it's kind of pointless. Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, yeah,
I can hear you. People can hear you as well. What's your name?
Pietro.
Hey, Pietro.
I think I was on before.
Oh yeah, I remember you. I forgot.
A while.
It was a while ago. It's a month or so. I remember you. How are you doing? All good?
Yeah. Good, doing well.
I'm okay. I'm okay. No Juve for a while, so it's good for our mental health, I guess.
Yeah. So far, so good.
So far, so good. Yeah. I was talking about Calafiori, or like the shows about Calafiori, and people panicking. I will call it panicking. Off the back of a game against Albania, because his picture was all over Twitter, and I don't know. I think they're scared. Scouting teams of big clubs are on Twitter, watching what their fans are posting. good thing it doesn't work like that. Otherwise, squad building would have been a complete disaster for some. But what do you make of the entire, I don't know, like drama story surrounding Calafiori that, people are panicking we're not potentially getting him right now?
Well, I listened to Fabrizio Romano yesterday. Sorry.
Yes, yeah.
And he said basically, as of the Calafiori has had a agreement with Juve since January.
Yeah.
So, as of right now, we're the front runners for Calafiori. Until hopefully no English club will come in with a ridiculous offer and try to get him. But as I know, as of right now, we are the front runners for Calafiori. Do I want him? Absolutely. Yes, it's going to take some time to get used to Juve. Think about it. Actually, everybody's going to need time to get used to Motta, because we have a new coach. We're going to have a new team, so it's going to take time for everybody.
It is like how much that's also a sticking point. Like how much do you think is he worth? Like not worth. Like how much would you feel comfortable Giuntoli paying to bring in Calafiori? I'll put it that way. Not because what is he worth, because if Premier League clubs offer 100 million euros, for Bologna he's worth 100 million euros. But for Giuntoli, how far should he be going, knowing that he has an agreement with the player and the player wants the Juve move?
The player wants Juve, right? That's the thing. With Calafiori, I mean, he's a proven Serie A player. So, I mean, as an agreement, I think what would be fair maybe would be about 15 or 20 million.
Oh, that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. I think we're going to pay at least 35 million straight up cash. If we want to get him straight up cash, it's going to be at least 35 million. At least.
You know what? Even better.
It would be. Like, it would definitely be. Because he, like, again, what he was worth, like the issue for me, or like for Bologna, is still like they need to pay Basel half that money. I think that's the biggest issue for them. They're looking at Calafiori and they're like, man, he's worth.
That's right. They're getting like 50%, right?
50%. That's the biggest issue, because they will sell Calafiori. Let's say they sell him for 35 million. They will get 17 and a half. They will look at that and they will like, that's not enough for a star player. The problem is, it's not our issue that we don't need to pay Basel. You need to pay Basel. That's your issue. You put in that clause, not we. So I think that's also a big sticking point for Bologna, because they're selling one of their star players, and also they lost Motta to us. They are not going to redeem Salamakers. Zirkzee is going to go, and also now you're selling Calafiori. You just sold your entire backbone. Ferguson is out, with an ACL, so he's gonna be back anytime soon. That's not the Bologna that got you to the Champions League. So you're basically selling your entire squad. So I can see why Bologna is sitting there and being like, okay, we're not extremely open in selling Calafiori, because we're keeping absolutely nobody. Like, what are we going to do next summer, basically? You have a new coach, but you're selling the entire squad. So there are a lot of issues right now. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be a very easy deal to be done. Like, I don't expect the Euros to end. Let's say Italy win it, the 14th of July, excuse me. I don't think at the end of July it's a done deal, if you know what I mean. It's gonna take a very, it's gonna be a Locatelli-esque saga. The difference is Bologna are not gonna sell 1 week before in August. I don't see Bologna to be that club right now. They play Champions League. They're not gonna say, okay, Calafiori, now you can leave August 25th. That's not gonna happen. So if it's first week of August and nothing happened, he's not coming. He's not joining.
Yeah. If I were Juve, I'd try to get this deal done as soon as possible, because the faster he's with us, the faster we can move forward. Even when it comes to Basel, it's Bologna's fault. Basel told him, okay, well, if you sell Calafiori, we're going to get 50%. They agreed to it. So whatever happens, happens. You get me?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
it's not like I said, it's not our issue. Like you,
Yeah.
being Bologna, you made it the mistake, you know. And to be fair to them, nobody knew he was gonna explode like this. Like nobody
Yeah.
knew. Like you could have had an idea about his talent, but his development skyrocketed. Like it's
Yeah.
insane what he did. Even against Albania, and it's Albania, and he made a mistake at the end. That's part you need to take with it. You need to take that with you. It's not the finished article. Um, you can see that the potential he has is kind of ridiculous. It is
Oh yeah.
ridiculous. It's that good. And look on the chat. The link for that to call in is pinned, or I will put it in again. But on uh, on that note, are you scared that a Premier League club will pay insane money and he is like not the insane money? Do you think Calafiori will look at an offer of a Chelsea and be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go Chelsea or Man U or Newcastle"?
Honestly, no, I'm not scared at all because unless he turns his back, because like I said, in January he had a principal set already with Juve. So if he goes all of a sudden, hey, Chelsea came with a good offer, I'm going to go to Chelsea instead, then that makes me lose respect for the player because you had an agreement in principle with Juve. Then that shows me is you don't care about a club, you care more about the money. You get me?
Yeah,
That's why I'm not scared.
like I have the same feeling. I saw people like yesterday. It was I don't know if you're on social media, if you're on Twitter. I saw people panicking so much because um, people like accounts, like big accounts, and the official account of was it the UEFA or whatever was
Yeah.
basically putting out pictures. You know, putting out tweets about Calafiori, comparing him with Maldini and whatever, going too far. And it's Twitter. Like that's all I'm saying. Like I don't think a scout is on Twitter looking at the fans of my club want that player. Let me try to sign that player. I don't think that's how it works. You know,
Nope.
they know about like Chelsea have been in for Calafiori before the Euros, by the way. But
Yeah.
I also think they know that hey, he wants to join Juve. So it's kind of not a waste of time, but like it's not a straightforward deal for you guys to do. That's why I'm extremely calm. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen because he has an
Yeah.
agreement with Juve. So I'm not scared that Premier League clubs could make a potential offer right now. I'm not scared at all.
No, then he just has to look at the project. You get me? What project does he like? We're starting a new project with Motta, or Chelsea. You know, they're a very unreliable team. And
They
when it
are.
comes to Twitter, I look at the news of Twitter is like the news with the sun. They're both unreliable and they're both full of crap. So, in reality, you know, in reality, whatever Twitter says, I just ignore. Unless it's not from a well-known source like Fabrizio or Di Marzio, I'm not going to listen to it. You get me? That's the thing.
Yeah, with
That's
that.
the news. That's where I get my news from. Monblana. Nah, not really. But again, Fabrizio. Them.
I think we lost Pietro for a sec.
That's it.
Oh, final question for
Oh,
you.
can,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
I can hear you now,
Yeah,
but I have one more question before I will let you go. What do you
yeah.
make of the potential moves this far, or like the news surrounding Di Gregorio, Douglas Luiz, McKennie Jr., us being or having an agreement with Di Lorenzo, obviously Calafiori, Colt Miners being the main target, but also including potentially Chiesa and Sule both out of the door. What do you make of the early signs of Giuntoli's new Juve?
Hmm. Well, the thing is, before that, well, first off, before we look at other players, I want to get ours situated first. Like for example, the McKennie and Ellen Jr. to Aston Villa. Honestly, first I was kind of against it because I like McKennie, but hey, it is what it is. But if we get Douglas Luiz, we're also going to get his girlfriend, and his girlfriend is like the Mbappe of like the women's soccer team. So, and obviously she's going to join the Juventus women, so they're going to get a good player as well. With that, I'll accept. With Ellen Jr. and McKennie, and we'll get Douglas Luiz. That I'll accept. Colt Miners, I really do like Colt Miners. Let's see what else. I would, as far as selling players, like I said, I would rather have them have our situated first. Like what's going on with Chiesa, what's going on with Rabiot. And honestly, if we think of getting Di Lorenzo for Chiesa, Giuntoli must be smoking something good that I want to try too, because that ain't gonna happen. I don't think that's a good deal at all. Di Lorenzo for Chiesa, no. If I were them, do whatever it takes to keep Chiesa. You know, if he wants more money, good, because he was one of our more consistent players last season. So and he's still young. He's still young. He's still a prospect. So I would focus more on trying to keep Chiesa instead of trying to let him go.
Yeah, I think.
Regarding yeah,
No, I think Chiesa. I think he's gone. I think it's not 100% obvious, but like I think the words. I think Giuntoli put all the rumors out there because he wants to have not an excuse, but like trying to prep the team, you know, or the fans to the idea of Giuntoli is gonna leave. Chiesa is gonna leave, and I need to find a replacement. Is it gonna be Sancho? Is it gonna be whoever right now? I think Chiesa is gone.
That's the thing. I would definitely either want Sancho or Greenwood for Chiesa. That I'll accept, but not Di Lorenzo. I'm sorry. I hope we get either one of the two. Sancho, I'll definitely accept because he's pretty good. So I mean, fine. If we get Chiesa, we get Sancho. Fine, I'll be happy with that. As far as I'm going with Colt Miners. I would have loved Samardzic, honestly. That's who I actually want the most. But I kind of feel like I'm kind of pissed off that Juve aren't looking at him anymore.
Yeah, that rumor completely died. I think that's one of those players that if it's possible at the end and you didn't do your main targets or you didn't sign your main objectives players or whatever, you go for Samardzic. But I don't think the club views him as a main guy, because if they would have done it in January, in my opinion, or would have done it now already. Because that's a deal you can do as soon as, like, that's a deal you can do now with Udinese, no issues. But the fact they haven't done it kind of tells me that's not the main guy. That's none of the players they were looking are looking to get, to be honest. But yeah, man, thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
And speak to you soon, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Okay, that's that. If you want to call in, link is in description, or not in the description, in the chat, and it's pinned as well. But yeah, on Di Lorenzo really quickly, because he played obviously against Albania, and to be honest, that's one of his best games he played, and that might be a good sign. You know, for me it was a good sign, but maybe for you, you've seen other, or maybe you didn't rate that performance. You're like, that's good. Well, I'm not a fan of Di Lorenzo. I don't think we're really gonna move on Chiesa for Di Lorenzo. I wouldn't be shocked if Chiesa ends up at Napoli, but again, being Chiesa, like Romeo's update is that he wants to wait as well until after Euros to assess all his options. Like the links with Napoli and the links with Roma. I saw links with Liverpool today. That would make more sense in terms of like you go from Juve, you haven't won the Scudetto and whatever, or like the major trophies. Going to Roma with all due respect, doesn't sound like a fantastic move for your career, for your individual career, like on the pitch, but like legacy wise, it sounds like a very weird move or a very strange move. You wouldn't do. Like that's a move you shouldn't be making. So that's why I'm very iffy with the news about he has a good agreement with De Rossi or he wants to play with Roma. I wouldn't really be completely sold on that solution, or on that rumor. If I'm being completely honest, but I do convince myself or whatever. I made peace with the fact that he's gonna leave the club. I made peace. I've watched him against Albania, And actually, it wasn't the best of games in terms of not like individually, but to shine because the club, Spalletti, they went 1-0 down. They turned around the game really quickly, tried to push on in the first half. Second half, they were like, we're just going to control the heck out of this game, not really push on, just, keep the ball and see out the game. That's what they did. But it wasn't a high-paced game. It wasn't that type of game where not just Chiesa, but like any player really could showcase what they're capable of. That being said, I thought he had a good game. Not a man of the match game, but he had a decent game. He's better on the wing. He's not a second striker. Allegri tried to convince him. He's just not. He's not going to be now. He's never going to be that. It's just not going to be the case. It's never going to happen. He's always a better winger, more so on the right. He said, excuse me. But the fact that the news is out there suggesting that Motta doesn't like him, I completely disagree. I don't think Motta doesn't like him. I think Giuntoli told Motta, we need to sell one. It's probably going to be Chiesa because of his contract situation, and the rumor kind of spread from there. That's what I believe. Kvaro's father said that they want to go away from Napoli. They want to play Champions League. Do you think Chiesa can go to Napoli? I can see him end up there, to be honest, but I don't see him ending up there in a swap deal with Di Lorenzo. Italian Australian football fan 100% agree. Caller Chiesa should say, but Motta doesn't have Chiesa on his plans. I don't really believe that. Like I said a couple of minutes ago, I think it's more so about the contract. I'm a coach in an academy. I will get rid of Chiesa, who's a Juve. I would not get rid of Chiesa, who's Juve most gifted player. Well, they're also not really links to improvement, so that replace him, excuse me, and that's probably what's confusing people most. It's all about Chiesa going. But there's no real rumor about Chiesa's replacement, like real rumors, not just the Sun or whatever, like those type of sources, but like a real clear-cut source saying, okay, if Chiesa goes or Sule goes, this is what the club wants to do. 35 plus Caviglia should be the deal for Calafiori. If Bologna won, Nicolucci, that's also a point. Vlahovic and Chiesa are not good for Motta-style football. What's your opinion? I don't really agree, especially with the Chiesa one. I don't, and even the Vlahovic one, like he had Arnautovic up top, completely maybe like different type of footballer, a little bit in terms of physicality, but both are better in the box, so I wouldn't really be I called in, but it has a second screen for me, but I would have to pause the live to pause. Yeah, if you're on your phone watching this live, you need to close it down. Just click the link, and I will bring you on the show. You cannot watch the show and call in on the same device. So if you're watching this with your phone, just click the link. You need to close down the stream, and I will bring you in. You pop up. You will hear me speak in the call-in studio, so that would not be an issue. Chiesa is good for any coach. The problem is he's always in the best shape. I don't like. Is he in the? What do you mean best shape? Because it doesn't look out of shape, in my opinion. It doesn't look like, maybe it does look out of pace, But even that, ever since he came back from his injury, especially this season, I don't think physique or like fitness wise, I don't think that has been the issue for him lately. I don't think that's like, I think it's his fitness level or whatever. It's on point. Like it's good enough. So I'm not really worried about that one as well. It's more so that he played as a second striker for Allegri. I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's a second striker. He's better on the wing. So he isn't as explosive as he used to be. To be honest, well, that was always going to happen with the injury. But I don't think he lost a lot of explosiveness. I don't think he lost that much, or to an extent where people were expecting him to lose it, or whatever you want to call it. I don't think it has been dropped off. I don't think there has been a massive drop off, from the pre-injury Chiesa in terms of explosiveness. I was expecting worse. Is what I'm trying to say. I've not seen it, to that extent. Let me see. If Chiesa is sold, do you think Sule will still be sold? I do. I definitely do. I think both are gone. Especially Sule. Like if an offer comes in from close to 40 million euros, I don't think the club is gonna hesitate. And I will keep Sule if we're linked with a player like Sancho, and I like Sancho. I have nothing against him, but his form is his form. His wages are his wages. The transfer fee is a transfer fee. Like, Sule takes a lot of boxes, and like for his case rather than a Sancho. And the caller who's in the chat, I think it's Luca. I think you need to put on your mic because I cannot hear you for some reason. So you need to jump in and out again maybe and connect your mic because I can see you muted yourself. For me, Kies as a right winger, even if he's a left footer, I agree. I think he's more dangerous on the right. I definitely agree. And yesterday was it Saturday? So yeah, it was yesterday. He was a bit unlucky with a shot. He could have gotten a goal, but he is bad. Like he's definitely, he's definitely he's definitely not a second striker. Definitely not. Like there's no chance he is a second striker. That was a waste of a season for us. And Anas, if you're calling in, you're still muted yourself. I can see the mute button. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, now I can hear you. Let me bring you in for a sec. Let me see. For some reason people cannot hear you. So let me. I've joined the call in, but I have to pause the live to unpause the call in. No, if you're on the same device, yes, but if not, then no. Like you just can call in, no issue. Okay, people can hear you now. Anas, I think it's Anas, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Circling back to Calafiori because that's kind of the talking point of or the main point of the live. Are you worried about Twitter discovering Calafiori against Albania?
Like you said, it's all reactionary, and like you said, also like scouts are not gonna be on Twitter and just looking. Oh, let's just scout this player that people are talking about on Twitter. It doesn't work like this. Like scouts would know the player like from a year or so since they're scouts, so they're gonna be over there just watching the player and taking their notes. Well, I'm not that surprised. I mean, it's all reactionary about Calafiori. And like, I'm not that worried that other clubs maybe will hijack the deal. Like Calafiori has a agreement with us, and if he wants to go to another club, it's gonna be mostly because of money, not because he wants to play for Juventus. And also, like the realistic clubs that he could join is maybe another Serie A club, but mostly it's just us because we got Thiago Motta now, and he trusts him, and he's the coach that like brought him out to the world and such. So yeah, and also like if he goes to Chelsea, there's nothing really going on at Chelsea. Like it's one day they're good, one day they're bad. They're like very inconsistent. And if he goes to Man U, well, Man U is a shithole basically. Like there isn't anything going on for them. So I'm not that worried about the Calafiori reaction on Twitter. I mean, I'm surprised that people start to know about him, and that's kind of good. But like I said, it is fun for the memes that other clubs would hijack Calafiori. So yeah.
Do you will you be okay with the club spending over 40 million euros, or let's say 40 million euros? Will you be okay with Giuntoli spending 40 million euros on Calafiori?
I mean, that's a realistic price that you would pay since Bologna have a 50% clause, selling clause to give to Basel. So I think that's a realistic price they would go for. I wouldn't say they go any lower. Maybe I would prefer lower, but since that clause is there, so I guess they can't offer more than 40 or 45. So that's, yeah, they can't offer more than that or less. I would prefer, but I don't see it happening, especially with Bologna's clause.
I I think it's gonna be lower than 40 at the end. You know, if they're gonna sell. You know, if they're gonna sell to us.
Yeah.
If they're gonna sell
It's
to
gonna
us,
be 40.
I even think it's gonna be lower, depending on which deal you structure. I saw people being worried about he's not. You know, he still makes a couple of mistakes. But that's what I said. Like his development in 1 year is, I want to say not normal, but like it's massive. That it feels like he skipped certain things, you know, and you don't find a lot of mistakes. So every single mistakes he's made is gonna be magnified right now. It's gonna be looked at and it's like, oh, he made a mistake right now. But a lot of players make mistakes. Players on big money, players who went for big money. So it's something you need to take part of. But his potential, especially potential, I think you're also paying a bit for the potential right here, because he's still like he developed massively. You know, defensively he's good, on the ball he's ridiculously good as well. The way he just can drive inside, look not out of place, all those things, kinda, in my opinion, tells me that Bologna is asking as well for, okay, he's this now, but he could be that. So you're gonna be needing pay. And if you're Juve, if you buy Calafiori, you probably buy him for the next 10 years or so, because he's Italian. Like you don't assume he's gonna leave. So you're not buying just for now. You're buying for the next 10 years, and actually you're buying a player that you think is gonna be one of the main guys, you know, from your new Juve winning cycle, maybe a potential captain, whatever, you know, if you want to go that far. That's what you're gonna need to pay for this summer if you actually believe in it. Because I saw the links about, if he doesn't come, you bring in Kiwior, who I do like. You know, I actually like him a lot, Kiwior.
He's not bad,
but it's a different type of player. It's a different type
Yeah.
of player. Like, again, if you don't get Calafiori, if you don't sell, you need to find a replacement. So it is what it is. Like, if you get Kiwior, it's nothing against Kiwior, because that's not his fault. You know, if Bologna don't sell, you need a replacement, period. Like, you need help, you need a player. I like him, you know, and I will be okay with that, but only if you actually push on until the bitter end to bring in Calafiori. Not if you go now, it's probably not going to happen, let's just sign Kiwior. That's not okay. But if you push on until the last day, Bologna say, this is what we want, and you couldn't pay that, you need to find the
You
replacement.
just move on to Kiwior, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But not now. Don't say now, okay, we're just going to sign
now.
Kiwior. Anas, I'm going to bring in Luca. But thanks for calling in. Speak to you soon. Yeah, it was you. But I'm gonna bring in Luca now, because he tried to call in a couple of times and he's finally in. So I'm gonna bring in on. Thanks for calling in, guy.
Okay, ciao.
Ciao. Let me see. Can you hear me? I can hear you. Wait, let me bring you in 1 sec. Yeah, it's it's an issue for many. What? Okay, people can hear you now. Luca, where are you from?
I'm from Ireland, but I'm Italian as well.
Oh, you're from Ireland. Oh, that's the second guy from Ireland I have on this channel.
What's your name?
I'm Alejandro. But we were talking.
Belgium, huh?
I'm from Belgium. Yeah, I'm from Belgium.
No.
We were talking about Calafiori, or like that's the main topic of the show. So I will ask you the same question on Calafiori. Are you worried that the deal is not are you worried that he's going to go away to the Premier League, whatever? Are you just worried we're not going to sign him at all this summer? That it's just not going to happen?
I'm not worried. It's just more I'm cautious. I'm cautious because I trust the process of Giuntoli. I'm on the side of Elkin, especially before Allegri got sacked. He came out and he said, listen, I saw from your video, you said, if someone is saying, just say it's this director, that director, don't believe it. I put this project fully into Giuntoli's hands. So I trust Giuntoli in that sense, but I don't trust him enough if he's not willing to splash the cash on a player that's smart. Because Calafiori, like you were saying, it's like another player for the next 10 years, just because he's Italian, but he's proved it as well. He plays in such a way that you have such confidence in him. When I watched last night against Albania, I had no worries. The only thing is, it's the lack of experience. But like you said, he didn't make many mistakes, But when he does make the mistakes, it's really, you will document it in the sense. But I'm not worried. I think like you were saying, Bologna, it's kind of on them because, okay, they have to pay Basel. It's not our fault. We don't have to pay Basel. We pay the sum. That's okay, but you can't just push it up. It's like if you're trying to sell a pair of shoes, you agree on 25, and then just because you want another pair of shoes, you push it up to 45. That's if you already have something set in stone and the player wants to move, it's not right of the club to take that away from the player to push it just for their cause. I don't think that's right. I think it's poor. It's lack of management of their club. It also makes everybody else look like they're chasing after them when really Bologna needs the cash. Like we're not rich either, but that's why we got Giuntoli. We need to be smart with our purchases, and I think this is the smartest purchase after Di Gregorio that we could have done this summer. I think we can't let it slip. We have to pick up Calafiori now. I think, okay, yeah, just say 50 million wasn't the sum. I think, okay, yeah, 25 would be lovely. 20 was the original. 25, I was already thinking. I think the max I would push it is 30, 35. That's it. I don't think 50 is a bit, it's not worth it, but I would still pay it just because I can see it in him that he's a player for the future. He's a future Yatsuri player as well. I can see it in him. He's one of them players. He's not another Rugani, whereas Rugani's still solid, but like it's not one of them players. I can see it in him. He has grinta, he has courage, he has everything. He's literally like another Lamine Yamal. It's like, how old is he? He's what, 2021? And he has another 20 years of experience. It's crazy.
He plays very mature. He plays very mature.
He's very mature for a young player. It's incredible to see.
But
like
the issue, like what he's worth right now, like I said, before the Euros, the price was around 30 million euros. Like a club like Chelsea, even though they like to burn money, if it's outside of the Premier League, especially Serie A, they're not coming in and say, here you go, Bologna, 60. They know, hey, you're kind of asking 30-ish before the Euros. We're not going to offer 60 right here. Like, they're not going to do that. Like, they're just not going to do that. No, not one club. And when people like Man U want him, or like, I've seen no links, by the way. This is all made up by fans right now. At this moment in time, it's all made up. The links, it's just Chelsea scouts have been at the game. Probably another 100 scouts have been at those games, Juve scouts are probably all over the place at Euros. That's not really kind of news, it's just being used that Chelsea scouts were at the Inter game, at the Italy-Albania game. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say at least 50 scouts from other teams were also at that game yesterday. So I'm not sure what that even means right now, but they're not gonna offer double when you were asking half at the start of the Euros. They're not gonna offer double because he had a good game against an extremely poor side, with all due respect. They were an extremely poor side. You didn't learn anything about Calafiori that you didn't knew from him playing for Bologna all season against Verona or Frosinone, whatever. So I'm not worried about that. The only thing I'm worried right now is that Bologna is like, we sold Motta. No, we sold. Motta's gone. We're selling Zirkzee. We are not redeeming Salamakers. Ferguson is injured. Man, do we also need to lose Calafiori now? What's the point? We just sold everyone. I don't think they want to be that club. But again, if Calafiori is respectful and says, you need to let me go, I want to leave, then I think they will find an agreement. Just purely based on, we have an agreement. I'm not worried about Man U paying or Chelsea offering 5 million euros a season, which I doubt they will do, by the way. But even if they do, Cambiaso, I said it a couple of minutes ago, had 5 extremely good seasons, and the club was like, yeah, we're going to redo your contract, we're going to bump up your wage. That's what the club do. That's what they do. The club will show you respect. An agent will come to the club and say, he's not going to leave, but let's redo the contract. We'll add another year to it, bump up his wage. That's how it works, That's how it works. Because when we signed, for example, Chiellini, he got better money. throughout the years. You
Of
get a new
course.
deal, you improve your deal, you improve your wages. So the wage thing, I don't think is the issue. He also looks like a smart guy. He doesn't look like a guy who's like, oh, 5 million. He knows, hey, I'll get that in 2 years at this club. If I do what I will
Exactly.
do, I will get there. No worries. So I'm not worried
Of
about
course.
that as well. I think it's the
No, I
last one.
agree. I agree with you totally. I think the wage is not that important in the sense. I think Calafiori is a clever guy because, like you were saying, he's clever. He's like, oh, I can get that 5 million in 2 seasons if I stay with this club. Because he's not wrong. If we could give Alexandro the what was he was on 9 million a season for the past 2-3 seasons. I
Gross
think
for the club, yes.
yeah, I think he definitely knows that he could get that money. I think you're also right in the sense saying, okay, yeah, there were scouts here, scouts there. But at the same time, there's been scouts at many matches. There's been scouts at matches from when you were growing up. Okay, maybe not from Juventus, Chelsea, this team. But that doesn't mean anything. You learn that through watching football, through experience in football. It's not that big of a deal when a scout is there. Scouts go to many matches all over the world, every continent, every day. I don't think it's a big deal. I think of course it is good that Calafiori played good. It also is a bit nerve wracking because it puts us a bit under pressure. Puts everyone under pressure if you want them, of course. But at the same time, I think we still have it in our hands. I don't think Chelsea will buy him. I don't think he'll be stupid enough to go to Chelsea because Chelsea have no project. Okay, Fabio Maresca. Not Fabio Maresca. Sorry. Yeah, no, Fabio Maresca. No? Or Paulo Maresca. Paulo
I'm not even
Maresca, yeah,
sure.
sorry.
It's Paolo Maresca, I think.
Yeah, because Fabio was the
Yeah,
the
it's a
referee
referee.
for Allegri's match. Yeah. But no, yeah. Like, okay, it was Paulo Maresca. It's not gonna be there's no major project there. They don't have a good team, no good president. It's like there's no project there. They're not stupid. He's not stupid enough. And just say, okay, the links are true. He's not gonna go to United either. He's not that stupid. He won't go to an overcrowded team. I think Calafiori will want to go, and I don't think he's one of those players who wants to be the main star. But I think in the back of his mind, he's like, listen, I've proven myself this season. I'm already starting for Liaturi. I think I deserve to have my fair share at the starting 11. I don't think he'll go to a team that's overcrowded, and that'll just kill him out. I think he will go to Juventus. I don't think he will leave Italy. I think he'll respect his verbal agreement with Juventus. I don't think he'll be that career suicidal to himself. I don't think he will be.
I agree. Someone saying Calafiori has no bargaining power at the moment because of his lengthy contract. Juve must be patient to sign him. They must be patient.
Of
But I think
course.
if Calafiori, contract or no, if Calafiori says to Bologna, I really, really, really want to go, and it's Juve, just figure out a deal. It's tough to keep a player who doesn't really want to be there. But again, it depends on Calafiori how he will, go with it. I have one final question before we wrap this one up. If
Yeah, no
you
problem.
if you need to give me three things, for it to be, or the top three things for it to be a good transfer window, you can name names. You can say we
Yeah.
need to improve that position, or we need to do this, and that. What would be your top three from names to just the idea what we need?
Oh, thank God you asked this question. For the past 9 months, I've been saying this to my friend in class. So for me, name-wise, I have conditions. I'm glad we got Di Gregorio. I know it's not announced official, but just say we've got Di Gregorio, it's official. I think that's perfect the way it was. But I wouldn't sell Chesney. I'd keep him as the second keeper. Of course, Al Nassr want them. I've read that there's been a few like altercations between it. I don't know how reliable it is, but I would like to keep him. I think Perin could get first. I don't doubt Perin's abilities. I've seen what he's done last season and this season. This season not so much, but last season he kept us in it when Chesney couldn't. So I think he could get first team. I think obviously wrap up the Calafiori deal, get it done. I think take away the Calafiori part, just say for now. I would do something smart and I'd get a left back, but for free and someone who's proven himself. I would get Spinazzola because Spinazzola's free, and I think he would. He's happy to come back. There was rumors in January. I'd happily run it back. I love Spinazzola. He's been my favorite player for the past 4 or 5 years. I love Spinazzola. I would bring in Spinazzola. On the Di Lorenzo side, I would like him. The only thing is, when it comes to football, I'm very old-fashioned. I like a player to be our player. I don't want to have him now and be like, oh, well, he went from Napoli to Juve, which is an upgrade, but it's still a rivalry regardless. I don't want to be like, well, where is he going to go next? I don't want him to be like a football, like a war bottle at a football match. I don't want him to be passed around. If he's coming to be our player, I'd like him to be our player. I don't want him to be a Quadrado in the next few years. So I would like Di Lorenzo. If it's possible, I'd like him. If we can't, I think we're fine without him. I think we can still do it. I think another player is Weah. I'd keep Weah because, okay, if the Club World Cup still goes ahead, I think we 100% need him. But I think if it doesn't go ahead, I think we still need him. I think Weah is a really, like, what's the word? He's a player that can go anywhere. He can play right wing back, right mid, and he has pace. Okay, he hasn't got great defensive abilities, but he's good on the ball and he's creative on the ball. I think that's something you kind of need as well. Midfield, Cup Miners, I'd like to get it wrapped up. 60 million is a lot. 60 million is a lot. And considering we have to balance the books, I don't want to splurge it on one player because there's one man up front who's in my mind, has been on my mind since maybe December. I don't know if you can guess it. It is Zirkzee. Zirkzee for me has been the number one man I would like. And that's the only guy I would have sold Chiesa for. I would sell Chiesa, not for Sancho, not for Greenwood, not for anyone. I want Zirkzee only. Only Zirkzee. And I wouldn't sell Sule. If we have to sell Sule, it's the only man I want for him is Zirkzee. I don't think he's Serie A proven. Zhigrov is good. Don't get me wrong, Zhigrov is brilliant. But he's Ligue 1 proved. And let's be honest, Ligue 1, there's not a lot of things that you have to do in Ligue 1 to prove yourself. I think Zhigrov would be nice, but he's not. I don't doubt that he would be good in Serie A. I just think he's not got enough experience. I think Sancho is good. I don't know. I've never really liked Sancho in the sense. He's not my type of winger. And then Greenwood, listen, I'm heavily into Christ. So I can learn to forgive people, but I don't want someone who's already, he's gone in trouble here, gone in trouble there. I don't want him to be one of those players who has controversy off the pitch and then he's good on the pitch. It makes it hard to root for him. I would like Zirkzee. I remember I had him in FIFA 19 when he was at Parma. I don't know if it was on loan. I believe it was on loan, but I would take him. I've loved Zirkzee. I would like Zirkzee. Obviously, if he goes to Milan, which I wouldn't doubt, I think Milan would be the best team for him because I think he would be more of a main man with Leao, which would be good for him. But I would prefer him with us. Chiesa, of course. I think Chiesa would be another Dybala type of deal. He's gone, grand, you get a bit of money. But then what? Every time you see him, it's like you see your ex, you're sad, It's like every time you see Dybala, you're sad. You're like, the memories come back. But for me, I would keep Chiesa on all terms. If he has to go, he has to go. There's only one man who can not fill his shoes, because not saying he didn't do much. He didn't leave. He's not like Del Piero where there's a big legacy. I would bring Zirkzee though. But
you're making it worse for Bologna.
Yeah, I don't mind. Listen, I don't care. I'm not a Bologna fan, I don't care. If we have to rinse them, we have to rinse them. They're the best team in Italy, potential-wise. I don't care. Another player from Italy who I wanted this time last summer would have been Parisi. I think that's the good thing that we got Giuntoli, and now that Allegri's gone, is that we can really focus. I think we missed out on two good deals for amazing prices. Parisi, Fabiano Parisi, he's great. Okay, he's not as good as he was with Empoli. He's still good with Fiorentina. And another one was Udo J. We could have got Parisi for 10 million. We said no. And we also could have gotten Udo J for 20. I think we missed out heavily there. I think it is what it is. So I think this summer is where we really have to capitalize. Of course, you'll say this again next summer and the summer after. You'll always say it. But I think this summer there's a lot of talent up for sale. But I just think for Zirkzee, back to him, I just think there's no point on splurging on one player, and then what? You have to scrap 20 million, which is still good, but it's for the players you want. It's not that great. We barely got Di Gregorio for 20 million, so like I think get Zirkzee, but if we can't get Zirkzee, I think it'll take 2 or 3 players to fill Chiesa's position. I don't think it'll take one. I think Zirkzee is the only player that we could get right now who would balance out Chiesa. If Chiesa leaves, which I really don't want him to leave, then Zirkzee is the man. And one thing that I'm really strong on, keep Danilo, but also don't make him cap. Don't make. I know you don't like Danilo, but I would keep Danilo because he has Grinta. He has Grinta, okay?
You
But
lost me.
I also saw, I don't know if you know, but I saw JFTV said anybody can play with Grinta, which is true. But I'd make Vlahovic the captain because Vlahovic is the true captain. I see him. He's Gobovero. He's like, he has Juventus mentality, winning mentality. After every match, he has something strong to say. He always carries himself well. I think Vlahovic should be he won't be the captain, but I think he deserves it the most because he's the only vocal one on the pitch. I don't think. Okay, Bremer's a strong. He's like Muro. He's a wall, but I don't think he's not loud. Nor is Gatti. Nor is Shed. No one is loud on that pitch except for Vlahovic. He's the only one that complains when we do something bad. He's the only one who goes absolutely crazy when we score. I think Vlahovic deserves to be the captain. I think it's regardless.
I would respect Mota to wrap up the show. I would respect Mota to if he comes in and he just do it his own way, even if he doesn't make Danilo captain, which I doubt will happen, but he need to do his own thing. He need to do what he believes in right now, and that goes from players, to like off the field, whatever, captaincy and all those things. He needs to do it his own way. But early signs, that's what is happening. Like it's doing his own way. With Giuntoli, it's doing their own way. It's doing something we haven't done for a couple of seasons now. So it's good. Yeah. You said some controversial stuff. I will like I would
listen, Danilo. No,
not for me. But just in general, I would advise you to not read out the comments tomorrow when people are rewatching this show.
That's no problem.
Because they will come for you. They will definitely come for you. They will come.
I don't mind. They're used to it.
But I agree on Zirkzee. I would like Zirkzee as well, but it's not gonna happen. He's going to Milan.
Yeah, he's. I can see him in a Milan jersey already.
Yeah.
Number 11. I can see.
If Chiesa leaves and Sule leaves, we need more links. Right now, it doesn't make sense. We're selling anyone. We're selling Junior, we're selling Sule, and we're selling Chiesa. And we've actually not been linked with... there are Sancho links, but like it's not real links where you're like, okay, this feels real. So that's, I think, the most part. Like it's very confusing. Like everybody's confused right now. We're selling everybody, but we're not signing in that position. Definitely, it's not the case. But that's what the media is trying to portray right now. So that's the issue. But that will resolve itself in a matter of time.
Will tell. It's in God's hands. You just kind of have to sit back because we can talk. But at the end of the day, we're only fans. We can't really do too much about it.
No.
You just kind of have to sit there.
I agree. Luca, thanks for calling in. Now you find out how it works. You can call in again the next time. Maybe we actually sign the player in the next call-in show next week. But thanks for calling in, man.
No problem. Thanks. Have a good one.
Same. Ciao.
Christ loves you. Bye.
Okay, people. I'm gonna wrap up this show. Like the video if you haven't liked the video. If you're rewatching, I will be back live tomorrow with Norbert. So stay tuned for that. I'm expecting something this week. I'm expecting. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's Di Gregorio official or Douglas Luiz official. But besides those things, I'm expecting something quote unquote new or something old, but now it feels real. So stay tuned for that one. But yeah, people, have a good day or evening, and I will speak to you.